future trends, deep insights, industry leaders. This is the iGaming Next podcast with your host, Heidi Lofthus.
Welcome back to iGaming Next Online.
There's not just one goal, there's multiple goals.
Ignore dilution if the deal's good, because you'll make more from a bigger pot.
It wasn't that people preferred the office or preferred remote. They actually preferred the option.
In other words, COVID-19 is giving us a glimpse into the future.
Alexia Frendo.
Hello, Heidi.
I have so many things to ask you, to talk to you about. But first, I think a polite, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very well. And I'm glad to be here as well. Different setting, definitely.
I know. You and I normally speak over video.
Yeah.
And we have done so quite a lot recently.
Yes, we did.
Yes. Through both for during our sessions at HR Connect, but also about your recent MEA nominations. Let's talk about that soon as well.
Yeah.
But you, as an high academic professional coming into gaming, tell us who is Alexia Frendo?
Yeah, I'll take you some years back then. It all started, I read for my master's degree in Italy. I've done 2 years in Rome, and then I worked 1 year in Bologna. And after 3 years in Italy, I've decided to come back to Malta. My family was here, my friends were here. And I started applying for jobs related to organizational psychology. But I soon realized that the terminology of organizational psychology was quite new back at the time. We're speaking about 16, 17 years ago. So I had to change my strategy, and I came across an advert at the Times of Malta at the time, stating that they needed a customer support agent for the Italian market on a part-time basis. I knew I qualified because I knew the language, but I didn't know anything about the gaming industry. I still applied, I got the job. From part-time, I went full-time, and then the rest is history. I worked my way up to the HR field. And looking back at how many roles I have gone through and how the gaming industry has changed, I feel I was so lucky at that time to bump into that particular role.
Yeah.
Because at the time, even when you speak to friends and family, with a master's degree, and they say, okay, but you're going, you could find a job, I don't know, more stable with the government. You know how it is, and especially 17 years ago.
Government.
You know what I mean? Especially 17 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was quite a journey. Today, I consider myself very lucky to be part of this.
And this support role was already with Unibet, as you're saying.
Yes.
And then you stay there.
Yes.
And worked your way up
for
to the
16
top.
Years. So it's quite a long journey. Yeah. However, I say something about the HR field per se. One day never looks as the other.
No.
So it's as if I work, in different settings all the time. Having said that, I think, and I feel lucky as well, that I work for Kindred. I think we have a unique culture as well, and it fits my values. And I think this is what let me stay there for such a long time.
Yeah, you've grown within the group.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many people you were at Unibet when you started? I mean, it was one of the first proper setups in gaming.
Yes. We were around 35, 40. I think when I started, I remember having our first Christmas dinners fitting in one table.
Yeah, I know. It's a fantastic time.
Yeah, it is.
But my partner is constantly irritated with myself when I introduce myself, having started off as a support agent. I can't take it away. I'm too proud of it. It's the best start that you can have within this industry.
Agree. And even when you interview people, even when you understand so much of the industry and how it works and how you have direct contact with the customers. I think it's a very privileged role because at the end of the day, we do everything for our customer, no?
Exactly.
So what are their needs, how do they relate with you? So I feel very privileged that I started from there, actually.
Exactly. They are actually the moneymakers in the end of the day.
Yes, they are.
But you're also an HR Connect member.
Yes.
How much do you love being an HR Connect member?
You know what? I think we are a beautiful team, and I consciously use that phrase, and I tell you why. Because first of all, we are all HR professionals, and we all come from the same environment. And you would maybe think, okay, there might be competition, but not at all. I think everyone is so eager to help each other, to challenge when there needs to be challenged. To remove unnecessary bureaucracy when there is unnecessary bureaucracy, to discuss processes and procedures and what works best. I think it's a learning curve as well for all of us, because when we get guests to participate, we learn about different perspectives, not necessarily coming from the gaming industry. And this is something that we are all open to, and we discuss freely. I really love this group.
Me too. And we've existed for since the end of 2018. So that shows again, like, how the needs in the industry also change. And, you are now also nominated, all the members nominated you to sit in the council at the MEA. How big is that?
Personally, it's big, but for the industry is even bigger, I think. First of all, it shows the fact that I am humbled that they nominated me, and it shows again, the cohesiveness of the team that we have within the HR Connect. That is one thing. I think the second thing is that I am very happy that finally the gaming industry will be at the forefront of these conversations. We would know what is going on locally, because we have to work with what is going on locally. So that is very important. We will have our say, and I think that we can use that seat as a tool for a lot of things.
Exactly.
So I think
and this is the
very
first
important
time in the history actually that we have not only a member but a female member. That's a good thing.
And I'm looking forward as well to work with other professionals from other fields as well.
Exactly.
Because we learn from each other, and it's a beautiful thing to do as well.
Yeah. This has been a lot of sort of back tapping and celebrations on our end, and I appreciate the thoughts around the HR Connect as well. But the reason that we are here today and what we are going to discuss is the very hot topic on diversity. So last month I spoke with Kelly Keane from All in Diversity. She shares a lot of she's also been to the HR sessions that we have. But to sort of continue on that, the diversity discussions, and I know that Kindred is working very hard on this, and especially, you can see it on their website, even your logo sort of screams diversity, doesn't it?
It's a huge topic for us, and we are putting a lot of effort and time on this topic as well. We want to build a diverse workforce. Why? Because first of all, we want to include also equity and inclusion, and that is part of the spectrum of one of our values, or one of our lead values is being individuals united. And this individual united embraces very nicely all three of them, diversity, inclusion, and equity. Apart from that, we want all our employees to come to the office and be their authentic self, coming into the office and feel involved, feel included. And this is a way of doing it. I want to maybe to say something personal here, and it shows also the culture that I was referring to within Kindred. I had a challenge recently, and I contacted one of our exec and just for support and for advice, and told me, yes, of course, Alexia, from individual united to parents united. So you can, good. How nice. So you can feel what the culture is, within Kindred. And I think that this thing, the inclusion part, the diversity part, empowers employees. And there is where the magic happens. There is where the innovation starts. When someone feels comfortable in their own place of work, to show what he or she is capable of.
I'm going to ask you, because we're going to sort of talk around these stuff over the coming today. Because every company that you talk to, I mean, there's so much positive things that all the companies are doing in terms of the pandemics, but also working in the way forwards, sort of finding the silver linings. How are we going to work sort of moving forwards? But there's always a backside of things. So we might, to get sort of to the root, and I think, again, where Kindred is a lot of in the forefront in a positive way, share with us also, you know, what are the difficulties as well. So to get sort of the real authenticity from Kindred as well.
But I think if I say that it has been easy, it has not. And it's not that we didn't wake up one day and we said, okay, let's be diverse. And we were diverse. We have been working for the past 2 years. And it has not always been easy. There were a lot of initiatives that together brought us where we are now. We all know that biases exist, no? We have templates in our head where we have these biases. And again, if you ask me, is Kindred perfect? No, it's not. Why? Because systems are built on these biases. Therefore, Kindred cannot be perfect because we have to use these systems. But I think that the secret of it all, I think, is that, first of all, that you are aware of where the bias is or what is the bias. Then speak about it and then start dissecting, you know, all these biases and remove all those barriers bit by bit, you know. I think that's something that helps us. We have one unique platform in Kindred that I think it could be that distinguishes us from all the rest. And I think this platform is our people. The people at Kindred want to do the right thing. And you feel it from when you go in the office, you feel that they want to do the right thing. And I think that culture, together with their openness, together with their constant feedback, you name it, you know, together with their positivity, their openness, I think that is the key for making it easier. I'm not telling you that it was a piece of cake, and I'm not telling you that we're done with it, far from it. This is not a project with a start and an end, forget it, you know. I was reading something, I think it was a behavioral research, where they were talking about the plasticity of the brain. And they were saying, we can rewire our brain, but we need time, we need commitment, and we need consistency. So if we need those three, it means that it's a never-ending project, no? And that's what diversity is. We have to keep on constantly making people aware, you know, about diversity and about equity and about inclusion. Because it's only with awareness and discussing it, that's the most important thing, not shy away from it, that we are going to remove the barriers. And it might be an easy topic for some, but it might be a very difficult topic for others. And it could be that it doesn't affect you directly, but you live with someone that, you know, it affects the whole, maybe family system or friendship system, whatever. So one way or another, I think that diversity, equity, and inclusion, it affects the people.
When I hear you talking, you are referring to we. I mean, you're obviously referring to the entire company, but give us some numbers here. What's the size of Kindred, the team that you're running?
Yeah, so we are 1,600 employees globally, 83 nationalities.
83 nationalities. 83.
All working together to transform gambling by being a trusted and secure gaming company. And that is huge. No? In Malta, we are roughly 470 employees.
And in the office, not in the office, what's the setup?
I'll come to it. And in the HR team, there is around 80 employees globally, which is a lot. One thing that I'm proud of is that we're going to increase the headcount of another person, and this person will solely be dedicated to inclusion, diversity, and equity. So the role of the person who's going to be chosen will be solely on that. So that also reflects how we're taking it seriously. And the feedback that I get from employees is that, yes, Kindred is taking it seriously, Kindred is taking it to another level. And these are the comments that are encouraging to hear. You asked me about...
Exactly. Where will this person be, and where are the people in the offices? Or
So-
I mean, this is another hot topic.
Another hot topic. So basically, at the moment, people are working from home. However, the offices are open. So whoever wants to work from the office can work from the office, obviously with the restrictions that the governments, with the 2 meters apart and stuff like that. The plan is that as from 1st of July, the people will go back to the office. However, in a hybrid approach, meaning that we will have 2 days from home and 3 days from the office. So that's the plan for now, because with COVID things can change from 1 week to another. No?
Absolutely.
So that is the plan.
Yeah, I think we had exactly this discussion last year in the group.
Yeah.
People were planning to go back in June and then July, and then sort of just screw it, stay home. Cool. But working from home, I mean, people are then sitting in their homes, being individually diverse.
Yeah.
How does inclusion, it's quite easy to feel alone, or not sort of ever having met your colleagues. Am I actually like them? Am I included? How do you work around this?
Yeah. No, that is something that we found very easy, to socially involve them as well, being individually at home. We've done a number of initiatives to address this. So let me start with the part of the mental health. So the part of the mental health, what we've done is, first of all, we ensured that the managers reach out to their employees frequently, more than ever before. We've increased the number of the mental health first aiders. We've increased also information sessions about mental health. We promoted more our EAP, the Employee Assistance Program, and we made sure that it is being used, it is there to be used. And we have also created networks for minority groups so that they can talk about their experiences, but also reach out to the employees. So that is one aspect where we've done this globally. Another thing that we've done locally is this Kindred Spirit rollout, that's how we call it. So basically, we are a group in the Malta management where we've decided, okay, let's reach out to the employees. Let's see what the engagement tool told us in terms of feedback. Let's pick that up and we go to the employees and ask them. First of all, it's a one-to-one conversation.
All
And
employees?
Not all employees, no. It's a sample of employees because otherwise 470, no, we took a sample. How we did it is this, because every Friday of one Friday every month, we have what we call TGIF, Thanks God It's Friday, and we do the updates for the Malta employees. So in one of the updates, we rolled this Kindred Spirit initiative, but we also said, if you are not contacted and you would like to be interviewed, please do approach us. And there were a number of people also who approached us. So at the moment, because we have another month still to go, at the moment we are reaching out for people, discussing this one-to-one. I've done already 5 or 6 meetings around this Kindred Spirit rollout. First of all, they know who I am, because not necessarily every employee knows who I am. Second of all, they know that if they have something, they know whom to reach as well. So it creates this bond, this contact as well. And it's nice, to receive a call. I'm not saying that, because I'm sure that they are, I think, busier than ever. No, with COVID, everyone is at home. You're even juggling from one thing to another.
Exactly.
But I felt that I've spoken to people that I haven't spoken before, and that gave, and to be honest, it empowered me.
Yeah,
and
them.
them.
So these are random questions that you ask, or is it any feedback is welcome to you, or how is it?
So basically, we have a set of questions. We're like, for example, are you aware of our benefits? What would you like us to have more? Would you recommend Kindred to a friend? If so, why? What does Kindred have that the others don't, for example, and stuff like that. But then in the end, obviously, we say, okay, do you want to ask us something? Is there something that you want to bring up? The first question, for example, is stress level. How is your stress level? What can we do in order to alleviate your stress? So questions like this.
So you actually get good intel and also some suggestions. So
We
the
do.
HR team and your inclusion person don't have to sit and think of
We do.
all the ideas.
We do.
You're saying that 2 years ago you started working on this. Did I hear you correct when you said that? I was thinking...
2 months ago. If I said 2 years ago, I meant 2 months ago.
Yeah, but I'm thinking because your management team is in on this.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it sounds like all these efforts are hard to do unless management are fully in.
I can tell you that management together with, and I'm referring here to the exec, to the C-levels now, even the CEO, they are fully committed to it, fully. So basically one other initiative that we have is we call it Diversity Matters. So it's a series of discussions that we planned. We only had one up until now for this year, where we invite a guest, an important guest. Let me tell you about this, and then I'll show you how important it is to see the exec and the employees talk to each other, with each other, all fully involved. So basically, we had Dr. Shola. So Dr. Shola is a human rights activist. She's an attorney in the US and the UK. She is called on many news programs in the US and in the UK as well. She's quite a popular figure, activist. And we had it in one of our discussions. And the beauty of it, apart from the discussion being very nice to hear, eye-opening, again, you'll be aware of things that you weren't aware before. The beauty of it all was that you see the CEO, the exec, or some of the exec, not all of them, and some of the employees who represented this, speaking to each other, and you can see how heavily invested they all were, And also, all the employees had the opportunity to participate because it is via our internal system, so everyone could dial in.
Okay, so it's a digital thing.
It's a digital thing. Exactly. She has called in. Yeah. But again, apart from the interesting conversation, I think that you could see the buy-in. You could see the time investment, financial investment at the end of the day as well. And there is where I got the feedback. Kindred is taking it to another level. There is where. You notice that the employee are noticing these changes.
So exactly what, this is part one of the series of Diversity Matters, you say?
Yeah.
What's the plan? And you're saying this is an ongoing
We have a number,
project.
you have a number of series of discussions. I don't know who will be the next guest speaker. No. But something else, another initiative that it is taking place, and this is beautiful, and I'll tell you something about it as well, behind the scenes kind of. So there is a space on Jive where employees who somehow feel that they have to narrate a story about their diversity, equity, and inclusion, they have the space to do it. To narrate your story, which can be quite personal, it takes a lot of courage, And it can be quite powerful as well, because it can come from an exec, it can come from an employee, and it's so beautiful to read, because when you read it, you feel, so I worked with this person was going through this, and I didn't realize. So it makes us think, how careful should we be not to judge, not to take things for granted maybe, and stuff like that. So that is really nice. I was speaking to the head of talent development about these stories, and she told me, Alexia, what is the beauty of this all is that I did not go to these employees to narrate their story. It's them who came to me to narrate their story. And this shows me that we've arrived at a level that we are trusting each other, that we are okay to speak about these things which we thought, let's bury them within us, If you ask me, what was the most difficult thing in all this project, the diversity project? The most difficult thing of it all is to tackle difficult conversations, and I'll tell you why. So one of our values is we believe in friendship, and that means that we are all friends, we are all happy, but we didn't feel comfortable in being uncomfortable. if it makes sense.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So now people, given that they are narrating their story, they are feeling comfortable with their uncomfortableness. You know what I mean? So
to talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, the message is it is okay not to be okay. And even from a mental health perspective, you know, it is okay not to be okay. I tell it to my daughters as well, you know. It is okay to cry, you know. Somehow your emotions needs to go out. So that's the powerful thing about diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's the magic of it all.
When did all this start? I mean, how did this culture end up where you are today? It started a long time ago.
Yeah, it started around 2 years ago. So we started discussing this also because our engagement tool did give us some statistics on this as well. So we started working on this quite a long time ago.
And then Corona came and accelerated it. Yeah. But I mean, numbers look well for Kindred Group. So the effort has really paid off, not only in the numbers, but also in the people, it seems then. You were going to say something about diversity, inclusion, and equity, and how you see, how you work on that, and the differences between equity and equality.
Yeah, it's very important because what we believe in Kindred is that before we arrive at equality, we have to practice equity. They are not the same. And I'll give you an example. When you reach equity, it means that you are being fair. You are giving the same opportunity. Therefore, you are being fair. Let me mention a very simple example. Let's say that we have a text, to study for an exam. And this text, we are given 2 hours to study for this text, But I have a neurodiversity issue, and therefore I don't need 2 hours, I need 4 hours. So if the examiner gives me 4 hours and it gives you 2 hours, they are giving us the same opportunity. We will still arrive at the end.
And it might seem fair.
And it's fair, But if he gives me or she gives me 2 hours, that is not fair. It is the same, but it's not fair. So this is just to give you an example. Now, I will give you also a concrete example of this equity and how we exercise it at Kindred, or how we exercise it at Kindred.
Nice.
So we have this talent management program. It's a training course. And applications were on. So whoever was interested was asked to apply. So people applied. We knew from our HR systems and data that not a lot, so who was asked to apply? Those managers who had high potential and high performance, because we wanted to target a specific group of people. From our data and our HR systems, we knew that females were rated less on potential than males. To be honest, no surprise, because it's a male-led industry. But we also know that women are less prone to put themselves forward for a promotion, So what did we do? We encouraged females to apply. As soon as they applied, then rigorous process went in the way to select the candidates, males and females, for the training session. But the fact that we leveraged the way for females to apply, we encouraged them to apply. And at the end of the day, when we saw the application forms, they were as good as the males. So it's just, so we did not positively discriminate, you know what I mean? It's like we encourage them to apply, and then,
Just
now
a
we have
simple word.
equity.
Yeah.
So that is the leverage that we've applied in these instances. And maybe we should pause and think as managers. I think we have a huge role as managers, and we are obliged and responsible, I think, to think about a few questions when we manage our people. are we giving equity to our employees, to our team? Are we highlighting their strengths, not focusing on their weaknesses? You know, and that is where, for example, we apply personal development plans in Kindred, personal improvement plans as well, where you help someone to succeed, not, you know, making him or her ready to fail. So I think that we are obliged also to see the whole of the human being, you know, because at the end of the day, now we're working from home. If there was a distinction between home and work before, now it's not anymore. So we have to look at the human being in its totality.
I'm like soaking this in. It's lovely, but I'm thinking like over 1,000 employees, equity. How do you make that happen? Do you have a maximum amount of employees per manager so that the manager get proper amount of good time, not to stress out, but to actually focus on these things, to reach out extra?
Yeah, but we do have guidelines, as for example, a manager should not have 20 direct reports, you know what I mean? So we do have these kind of guidelines that guides us. But I think the key also is empowering managers to manage in the correct way, so to say. We have training programs. We have 2 sets of training programs. One is Kindred Manager DNA and one is Kindred DNA. So they are specifically tailored for managers. We as business partners, we frequently meet the managers, you know. And again, it's this, there are no barriers. So I had a personal issue and I contacted the exec, you know what I mean? So there is no barriers where the manager can't contact us. It's like, you know, it's a two-way approach. We don't have them and we. No. It's we.
Yeah. And we were in the car earlier. You drove me here. Thanks for the ride. But we were also talking about you having had training last week on what was that? You felt like it's good to have training yourself.
Yeah.
And for me, I interpret it as, yes, I should have had so much more training myself, actually learned so much more, taken the opportunities to actually, you know, develop myself for my own sake.
Yeah. No, I'm part of this training as well for management. And the first topic was focusing on the individual. And it was so enlightening in a way, because it showed me that I need to stop, think and breathe. And the power of breathing is amazing. You know, the power of meditation is so refreshing, you know. It kind of gives oxygen to your brain, you know. We spoke before about rewiring the brain.
Exactly.
And it gives, it helped me. And there are various apps today, you know, that can help you to let go, because sometimes I can be a little bit controlling, maybe too much. And if my daughters hear me say this, they would say, "Oh yes, for sure." Sometimes I'm too much with them, and it gave me the possibility again to look inside me, because even as a manager, we have the responsibility to be a little bit introspective, look inside us, and also see, is there any bias within me? Why am I behaving in this way? You know, how can I make it different? How can I change my mood from being negative to positive? How can I stay in that positive stance? You know, it's beautiful. The more you dig around these things, I think the more involved you become.
I was gonna say, because everything that you say now makes total sense, whereas if you look back a year from now, and I was very stressed out. I mean, I can't hide that. It was not a good time for me. Then these questions would have come sort of, people are ultimately responsible for their own mental health. Whereas I, obviously with efforts, I mean, Kindred is so much in the forefront, but all of the gaming companies have done so much for the employees, for managers. But since I'm doing coaching as well, and I've studied, I'm trained, I'm having active clients, and this sort of go internal into myself. I mean, this releases something extra which accelerates these sort of insights.
Yeah.
So you, with your psychologist background from Rome and from Bologna, I mean, how much can you take this in quicker, you think?
I think to be honest, I think I was in my university degree, even in Malta, I think they molded me in a way, or I was trained in a way, you know, to master more the patience within me, to master more the empathy. I think I react in a certain way because I was molded in a certain way as well. However, it's a lot of work as well for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you were not born this way, and maybe experiences in life changes you, mold you in a way.
Exactly.
That you need to. If I look back, Heidi, I would say I would never go back as how I was before pre-COVID. I don't know if you say it, but I was mental.
Silver lining again.
You know? I was mental back at that time. You know, from the office I drive the kids. From the kids I go there. Oh my God! And I'm worried that I'll be back again to that life. I don't want to be back to that life. I'm not saying that I'm happy at home, etc. But at least the pace is definitely slower. You know, and I think it benefited me. It benefited my family. You know, it's a chain at the end of the day. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
But mental health is very, very important.
Yeah.
Very important. I think nowadays, I think that it can make or break relationships, for example. No, stress is one of the causes of separations when you read research and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Financial stress, works, anything, you know.
Not being supported kind of stress.
And not being at home because you work long hours in the office, for example, you know, not being flexible. And now a lot of companies, even Maltese companies, are realizing the importance of being flexible, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it has this COVID has taught us quite a lot, to be honest.
I think so too. No, but with the training, I was saying, like, for your psychology background and my coaching, how training at the workplace really does matter.
Yeah.
And for everyone, you know, with training and the consistent training, as you're saying, for the rewiring, to have it constantly, make you understand, because with time and reflection comes sort of the insights, obviously. Yeah. It's just in a very, very stressful moment, this comes secondary. Which it shouldn't. Yeah.
And you need time to implement it. You need some time. You need to make some time to implement the learnings, you know, to stop, think, and say, okay, how can I apply it? How can it affect me? Is it worth applying it, you know? Is it good for me or not? Because at the end of the day, not everything maybe is good for you, but you apply what matters to you.
Exactly.
No, but training is important. And a company who invests in training, it means that it is investing in the employees. So, yeah.
So if I'm a company, where should I start?
So my suggestion is lead from the heart, be authentic, be open and transparent, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. You will make mistakes. It's part of life. It's part of the journey. But I think they will be forgotten for the greater good.
And your people, they're living by this?
100% living by this, living by our values. And that's the reason, I think, why I sticked with Kindred for 16 years. And one of the feedback that we received from exit interviews as well is that the people here live by the values. And that is important, no? So
your people, would you say that they live by this?
Yes, for sure. The people live by this. Exec have our full, you know, we have their full support. And it's vice versa. And they definitely, all of us, from the CEO to all of the employees. We live by our values, for sure.
Amazing, amazing. And this is, when do you get feedback apart from the employee survey, what did you call it, the temperature?
Basically it's the, I forgot the name now, it is the engagement tool. And we have this frequently sent to the employees, to all the employees. And from now, from every phase, from one phase to another, we always tweak also the questions as well. So we really listen to what they have to tell us.
One last question. Does it differ a lot between the countries?
No. Obviously, there are culture differences. I don't know, for example, in the UK, when they were in the office, they would go to the pub after, I don't know.
Obviously.
No. But when it comes to values, everything is globalized. So we don't do stuff that it's only for Malta or only for GIB or only for the UK. In fact, we have teams that are replicated exactly the same in different countries. For example, if we have the engagement group in Malta, we have the engagement group in London, we have the engagement group in Gibraltar, we have the engagement group in Sweden. And even the teams, they are, even the HR team. If we have 2 business partners in London, it's the same in Malta, it's the same in Sweden. So it's the same structure, so to say.
Amazing. Amazing. Alexia, so the futures continue looking quite bright for you guys then? Yeah. Good.
We're doing good, and we're very happy of this new K2 strategy. It's looking great. It's looking great.
Good. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll see. We're probably going to talk on the phone tomorrow already. And I'll see you also in the HR Connect sessions.
It was a pleasure. Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you again.